You are just in time for the Real Estate Profits with Purpose. Keep it here and learn how to buy and sell real estate the right way. Here are your hosts, Ian Boshoff and Jessica Couch.
Hey, happy spring. It's Jessica Couch filling in for Ian Boshoff, and I have my co-host today, Joseph Muscles Madrid. I hope you don't mind I just make up nicknames for you, but Joseph does have a lot of muscles. Our goal here today is to give you some tips and tricks for this new emerging market we're walking into. We have some exciting stuff to talk about. And I'm going to give you a little teaser before we get into the show. We also support Sweet Dreams. I want to also mention that any of our business that comes from the show, 10% goes back to our local nonprofit. We are a faith-based group. We believe in supporting community. We believe in supporting ministries and nonprofits, and that's really what we're big on here. So if you want to know more about that, it's sweet-dreams.org. And I wanted to give you a teaser because I have a couple guests coming in April, and I want to give you a teaser. One of these we talked about yesterday, Joseph, on our weekly meeting. Yeah. It's ADU, which a lot of people don't know what that stands for. Right. You do.
Right.
What does it stand for?
ADU is auxiliary,
no, that's it. Auxiliary dwelling unit.
Auxiliary dwelling unit. Yeah.
We throw out terms in real estate like everyone knows what we're talking about. So the ADU, there's been a lot of new development. Placer County was one of the first counties to initiate this and make it legal for homeowners to put in an ADU. Right. And because of prices, which are so high right now, I think you'd agree. From somebody in our age group that bought our first house in our 20s, houses were like four times less than what they are right now for a starter home. It's quadrupled. So with prices being what they are, I'm seeing a lot more need for the ADU. And at a lot of the real estate meetings, we get a lot of folks coming through. They're like, we can do ADU. And everyone goes, it's like this big exciting thing. And they're like, it's only $250,000. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, what? Right. Am I on crazy pills? Like, that is so much money. Yeah. Like, go buy a duplex. What are you talking about? Yeah. So I have a contractor that can do this for about half. I knew he was out there, but I had to find him. Yeah. And this guy is legit. He has just gone above and beyond for clients that I'm working with right now. He's now working with Kimberly also. So he's going to come on the show. He is young. He has a ton of experience. He is hungry, and he knows how to get it done for half. That's going to be super exciting. And I have another guest coming in that has a tip and trick that I don't have all the details on, but when she spouted it out, I was like, whatever you just said, girlfriend, we need to dissect that on the show. She takes a HELOC, which you could explain what that is. Go ahead, tell us what the HELOC is.
So HELOC, Home Equity Line of Credit, is basically a line of credit that is determined by the value of your home.
Oh, thank you for that longer explanation, because that's the next question. Like, my home's worth $500,000. I'm going to take a better example. I have a family right now I ran comps for. Their home is worth 1.2. They did an amazing job, by the way. They bought it in 2003 for $324,000. It was just a little nothing house on a great piece of property that backs up to the river, like prime real estate. Wow. It was 1,100 square feet. They've added on, rearranged everything. The house is amazing, and it is now 3,100 square feet. They have a prime lot. The home is worth about 1.2. They owe about $199 on it, right?
Wow.
Prime position. Yeah. And I said, and they were talking about their rental and their goals. And I said, why don't you do an ADU? And they were like, what is that? Mm-hmm. What? Have you been living under a rock? An auxiliary dwelling unit. So I was chatting about we don't have room. I'm like, you have like a 0.33 of an acre. Like, you have so much room on prime real estate. Yeah. So talk about this equity position and what one could borrow. Let's use this family as the example. They owe $200. Their value is 1.2. How much of that equity can you borrow in order to put up something like an auxiliary dwelling unit?
Yeah, so it's based on your credit score and your LTV, we call it. It's called loan to value.
Thank you for breaking down all of the abbreviations we use. Okay.
Yeah. And then the second part, this is when most people don't hear about it, CLTV. Right?
Okay, explain what that is.
So CLTV is cumulative loan to value.
Okay. So and what does that mean? What's the difference?
Everything put together, right? So cumulative means if you have a first and you want to take a HELOC, that would be your second.
Got it.
So those put together versus the value of your home determines the amount you could borrow.
What about the rest of your debt? Your car note, your credit cards? What about that? Your student loans?
I love that. And those are all prime candidates for these HELOCs too, right? Because a lot of people in these days don't want to touch these low rate firsts that they got, right?
Yeah.
2020.
Can you speak, because I wasn't even going this direction, but like really good point for our listeners. Can you speak to that?
Yeah.
If you're, and this is a lot of my clients and probably yours too, they are overloaded with debt,
right,
as our society is. I don't have the stats like my smart business partner Ian does. He brings them all in. Like, here's where we are on debt right now. But we have an overwhelming debt load as a society right now. So for these clients of yours and mine that have a student loan, 2 car notes, right? They have a kid in college, a kid that just finished college and one going in. They are feeling strapped. They make a ton of money. They have a good amount of equity and they're strapped and they're stressed out. Yeah. How would you solve that problem with the HELOC for them?
It's such an awesome tool to have, to your point, is because now it's like you can just wipe that debt out and they'll have it re-available to them, right? So, like, say, like your client you're talking about, say they owe $200,000, their house is worth 1.2. I mean, if they have good credit, they're going to be able to go up to about 80%. Some of them, 75 is the max. It just depends on the lender. But 75, 80, sometimes 85 if the credit's really good. And so you figure if you only owe $200,000 and it's worth 1.2, then you're going to have, $600,000-$700,000 that you could take out, right? Up to that. And
this family doesn't need that much. They need enough for an ADU. They have a rental that needs some repairs with a detached garage. I'm like, bing, right? Like, you have a detached garage? Well, you could have a whole second unit.
All of that.
So if they were to pull $150 for an ADU, maybe $75 for all the repairs on their other place, and making that detached garage into a legit, legal, permitted ADU, because that'd be simple. The structure's already there, right? I don't want to bore you with the details, but so they've got $175. Maybe they need another $75 to pay off the car notes, pay off the credit cards, and pay off a student loan that is going to save them money, because the credit cards are running 27% interest. And what's a HELOC going to run you right now?
Right now, prime is 9.5. So usually everything is like prime plus 2. So you figure maybe 11.5, 12%.
And then is your payment based on principal and interest, or just interest on the HELOC?
Well, that's a good question, because to qualify, they base it on PITI.
Okay.
Principal, interest, taxes, insurance. Okay. Right? But your payment will be interest only.
So for this family, if they were to roll everything in there, and let's say just for an easy number, they've got $1,200 going out the door right now at 20, a lot of it at 27% interest, or compounding interest on a student loan, right? Like, because it's low interest, but then look at the total. Look at the total and the compounding effect and what you're actually paying at the end. So if they were to borrow equity, pay all that off, and it's half. They're paying half back in their interest. I mean, these are just simple numbers. Don't quote me on it. But they could actually make a double payment and get that paid off quicker.
Yeah.
And that would be their only debt.
Yeah. And the cool part is, like you said, they're adding 2 more units, right? Because one's already on the home, then they're going to build one. So it's going to pay for itself.
Quickly.
Right?
Like,
and then they're going to have all this debt freed up.
Where does somebody start this conversation with you, Joseph? Because, like, if you're listening to this and you're not like, oh, my gosh, answer to my problems, where do I call and start the process? I don't know why you wouldn't. Right. I don't know why you wouldn't. And if your credit is not in the place it needs to be, which is a lot of my friends, one more reason you need to call Joseph now, get your credit in order and do this. Because when you pay off all of these things and you only have 2 loans now, your first and your HELOC, your credit is going to go through the roof. Yeah. So this isn't just a plan to get out of debt, build rental income, and bump up your credit score. It's a way to save money and build for your future. Yeah. If you're in our age group and you're not planning for retirement, another little thing you ought to think about right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does someone start the process, Joseph? How do they reach you?
916-849-8925.
And they could shoot you a text, plan a time for a conference call when both parties are available. And I urge people to don't wait until you're like, oh, Saturday in 3 weeks. Like, no, you're both on your way home from work. Conference Joseph in. Yeah. He's cool like that. Yeah. You do not need a sit-down formal appointment. Like, call him in, ping pong some ideas, and get the process going. Yeah. Because we are in prime time right now to be able to do something like that. Yeah. Especially if you're thinking, as a lot of my clients and your clients are, like, I don't want to sell. I have a 2.75, but I want to be able to buy a rental. And if you have enough room on your property, forget buying a rental.
So smart.
Add an ADU, which I know doesn't serve my purposes as the realtor because I don't make anything, but I'm pushing all this business back to our corporation, Pro, and we're able to help with the HELOC. And if you're doing what's best by your clients and I'm doing what's best by my clients, they're going to come back and they're going to refer all their business. That's why it's in my best interest to do all the things I can for free to help all the families in our database to make sure that we're helping them at the highest and best level. I think that's what we're called to do anyway. Like that is what we're supposed to be doing. And if you do the right thing, you're going to get all the business. So when rates do come down or it is appropriate for them to buy or to sell, they're going to be the one you come back to.
Yeah. People want to do business with people they like, right?
Yes. It's we went around the room the other day at a networking event and said, what's your business tip you'd give to, some of these new business owners? And there were some good tips. And mine was something a broker told me 20 years ago. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Yeah. And when people know how much you care about their particular situation and how to strategize, which is like my favorite thing to do, then they really are bonded with you and able to do business with you. And if you don't have that, if you're just an average realtor or an average lender that's just doing a transaction, that's going to be very evident versus somebody who really cares about your situation.
Yeah. It's just like, I always try to think of it as how would I want to be treated? Yeah. Right. Or would I do business with me?
I could tell you that we were working on a deal a few years back and she ended up canceling. Yeah. It was a real bummer. And I have to say, you probably spent 24 hours on conference calls with us figuring out. She had a complicated situation. This girl came in and said, my credit's perfect, debt to income, great. And then you pulled numbers and you're like, actually, we're going to get back to the drawing board. Like your credit needs some help. And you weren't even you didn't end up making any money on it. Yeah. And you jumped through so many hoops to make sure that you got her credit up. You ran rapid rescore. You researched every single program, new programs that were just coming out that would work for her. Yeah. And did everything in your power to make it work. And I'm telling you guys, if you are thinking about doing something, start with someone who cares, because that is the biggest thing that you need to make sure you have with your team. Yeah. If someone doesn't really care about your situation, they're not going to work hard for your strategy, whether there's money involved or not.
So true.
So give us your number one more time before we go on break.
916-849-8925.
Okay, you guys heard it here. Call Joseph. Get the process started. Don't wait. We are in a great market. When we come back, we're going to talk more about all the tips and tricks that can get you and your family into a home this year.
Hi, I'm Ian Boshoff, CEO of Pro Mortgage and Realty. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've streamlined the home buying process, providing you the fast mortgage pre-approval and top-performing real estate agents that will negotiate the best price for you, all under one roof. If you call or text to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, we'll help with those out-of-pocket expenses like home inspection, appraisal, and closing costs. We make it easy. From down payment assistance programs, no income qualifying loans to conventional FHA and VA loans, we have you covered. We'll help you find the right financing program and the right home. Be sure to ask about our temporary buy-down program that's negotiated towards your interest rate and can end up saving you thousands. Work with a team that's with you every step of the way. Work with the pros, Pro Mortgage and Realty. Call 916-872-7177 or visit promortgagerealty.com.
NMLS number 351319, DRE number 017456667.
Sweet Dreams Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to glorify God by spreading peace, hope, and love to families with medically fragile babies and children. They offer dream bedrooms to children battling life-threatening illnesses, and their Ruse Baby program creates an atmosphere that will lift the spirit of the child, where they can laugh, play, and let their inner light shine. To learn more about the Sweet Dreams Foundation, visit sweet-dreams.org. When you work with Pro Mortgage and Realty, you're supporting the Sweet Dreams Foundation. Partner with Pro Mortgage and Realty today to buy or sell a home and help support the Sweet Dreams Foundation to help more children in our communities. Call or text Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty today at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916, or visit promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 351319 and DRE number 017456667.
And now more with the Real Estate Profits with Purpose on AM 1380, The Answer.
Hey guys, we are back. I started a little teaser before the show with the second guest we have coming on in regard to HELOC. So Joseph was just able to give you a lot of direction with how to use that HELOC, which I love. Yeah. The other idea, and the gal that's coming on, she gave me the snippet because I said, hey, what do you do? And she goes, oh, I do this thing where I use a self-directed IRA and then I buy property with that, which is my other love language. And then I also use a HELOC in order to buy a whole life insurance policy, and then I borrow against the whole life to pay off the HELOC and pay off your principal. And I'm like, that we did not have enough time to break this down. You need to come on the show. Yeah. So I'm really excited for that. So that'll be coming up in April as well. So we've got a couple of really fun guests that we'll be pushing out through social media. So everybody knows if you have questions about ADU, if you have questions about how to pay off your house fast, like send in your questions. You can give us your number again, Joseph. Send them in to Joseph, and we'll just incorporate those into our shows.
Yeah, 916-849-8925.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about was this market we're in right now, because then we're going to get into next segment and the market we're going into, which Joseph's going to tell you all about, and then tell you I told you so. If you don't, if you don't listen up and know what you're walking into right now, I want to make sure you do. So the market we're in right now, I was reminded yesterday because my entire life, as yours, is like meeting with people, like back to back to back to back to back. That's all I do. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of people right now that are in line with the thinking that you should be in line with right now of this market. Mm-hmm. So I met with a guy yesterday, and he said, oh, sorry, I didn't even think about using you. I'm using this guy. I'm like, oh, I love that guy. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. He does a lot of business. He's a believer. He gives back in a big way. He's a good guy. Mm-hmm. So I said, tell me what you're looking at. And he said, oh, we're looking at some condos, and we're using CalHFA. I said, great. You're using down payment assistance. Yes. I said, did he prepare you for what you're going to need out of pocket? We know we need 1% for a buy down. And I was like, okay, let's go back through the numbers. If you're using CalHFA, you need 1% for origination. Yep. You need 2% for a buy down. Mm-hmm. Don't do 1, do 2. And you need 3% for closing costs. You need 6% back. Is he asking for 6% back? Yeah. And he was like, say that again? So I did a video yesterday on this, and then I sent it all in text. But if you're a borrower, and we'll just use this example, you're using CalHFA, you're going to need 6% back. You can absolutely get that back from the seller. Mm-hmm. And here's how to do it if you didn't watch the video. You're going to go find at least 3 properties that are most similar. And I'm telling you, I went through MLS this morning, and if you're not finding them, call me direct. 916-532-8916. There are so many flipping properties right now. Yeah. There's so much inventory. Mm-hmm. There is so much that's been sitting on the market over 60 days. Yeah. So if you're talking with someone that tells you that's not true, you might just want to call me for a second opinion, and I can show you what's true. Because it's like it's public. Okay? I can pull it and show you. So in this scenario, you're going to find at least 3 properties similar to the one you love on 123 Main Street. And then you write an offer. So we're going to say this house is $500,000. You're going to write this offer at $475,000. Just punch them in the face right out of the gate, like insult. Okay, your house has been on the market for a minute, and there's 3 or at least 2 others very, very, very similar. So you're going to write up your offer at $475,000. Just insult them out of the gate. You're going to ask for 6% back from the seller, and you're going to make it a 24 expiration offer. And you're going to outline number 2 and number 3. Hey, you're our number 1. You have 24 hours. Let me know. Because then I'm moving on to number 2. And if they don't work, number 3. And by that point, there'll be more properties on the market, and this will be even more stale. So let me know. And then they're going to come back and they're going to say, no way. Or they always come back to me and go, are you crazy? I'm like, verified. Ask around. And I also do a lot of business. Yeah. This is how we're doing it. Yeah. So if you don't like this number, we'll go off to number 2. And they come back and say, well, you're going to have to pay $510. Cool. At $510 or even $515, depending on your rate, it's going to be the difference of $17 to $37. Big deal. Right. You're getting 6% back. And you know what you're out of pocket? Like nothing. Right? Because your origination fee is covered. Your buy down is covered. The 2% and all of your closing costs are covered. I need your money in reserves. And then if you're working with me, I give 25% of my commission back. So on a $500,000 property, commission is going to be around $10,000, $2,500 earmarked for you. That covers your appraisal, your inspections, usually a repair or 2, and the guy to come back to clear the repair that had to be done for the loan. Yeah. All things you don't know as a new buyer. Right. So all of that's covered. Now you're in a property with 0 out of pocket, and that little bit of money you did have, I need it in your account to show for reserves. What do we typically need for reserves on like $500 on a CalHFA? What do you need to show you have reserved?
So that's the cool thing about the CalHFA loans is you really don't need reserve. Really? Right? You don't. That's
learning new things.
Yeah, I mean, because that's kind of the point of needing the CalHFA, right? Is you don't have the money to put down. So you really don't need reserves for those, which is awesome. Now, you do need reserves for investment loans.
Oh, of course.
Like we were talking about, right? So that's kind of the only ones you need reserves for.
What about FHA? FHA, you need to show some reserves, right?
No, Not
really?
all the time either. Yeah,
okay.
That's the same assumption, right? You're going for FHA because you don't have the money, right? So that's the assumption. Loans have changed a lot.
And can you tell me right now, and sorry to put you on the spot with this because I didn't ask you ahead of time, but what do you think the difference is between right now FHA rate and going CalHFA rate? Where FHA you're coming in with, well, you speak to that, like the difference in what you're coming in with and the difference in rate right now. What are you looking at?
So FHA is 3.5% down.
Right.
CalHFA is just going to be a second, so you could still get the same 3.5% down on the first. CalHFA is just going to cover that 3.5%.
Thank you for pointing that out. Okay.
Right. So the thing to keep in mind, though, for down payment assistance is it's usually a requirement. I'm going to say 99% of the time that you have 1% of your own funds in the transaction. Right.
So there's your reserves.
Right. So here's the cool part most people don't think about. Primarily or customarily, when you go to put in your earnest money deposit, most people write 1% on the contract.
Unless you're working with Jessica Couch, we only give 1,000.
Right, which is awesome. But most people do 1%.
Yeah.
So that counts. That's your money in the transaction, right?
And that's works towards your
closing costs.
Towards your total.
So it's pretty cool when people hear that. They're like, so to your point. Wait a minute, so I only got to put in 1% of my money, and my money goes towards my loan, and you're going to negotiate the rest? Like, who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah.
That's the way to get into a house.
Oh, right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Because
but times are about to change. So what are we looking at in difference of rate, though? If is FHA, what are we looking at right now? Just give me a round-ish number.
Yeah.
And how much higher is it if you're using CalHFA where you're not using any of your own money?
Yeah.
Like, what's that differential?
So I should say FHA right now, the difference in rates would be FHA and conventional, right? So FHA customarily runs around 1% or less.
Okay.
I'd say 0.75% to 1% less than conventional. But your payment ends up almost being the same.
Because on a conventional, because you don't have is that what you mean?
The same mortgage insurance, right?
Right.
You
don't have the PMI. Here we are again with the abbreviations, the premium mortgage interest or insurance. What about the CalHFA? Can we go back to that for a minute? With the CalHFA, you're not paying a higher rate for that borrowed money?
No.
It's just going to be... Cool so down payment assistance is usually a higher number, but you're telling with CalHFA, it's not going to be a higher interest rate.
No. So the down payment assistance...
I'm getting schooled here, guys.
You are. The interest rate's always just based on your credit score.
Okay.
So if your credit score is... Not everybody that gets FHA has low credit scores, right? I mean, we play the market. Some people have 800 credit scores get FHA because it's more efficient financially.
Yep. Especially in the market we're in right now where we know you're going to have to refinance.
Yeah. And the cool part about the CalHFA is their grants. It's money that's usually from the county or the city, right?
Break down what that means. If it's a grant, what's your payment look like?
I'm so glad you said this because we were headed down the same path. So when you get a grant, you don't have an additional payment to your mortgage. Okay, so it's like they're giving you money. Now, here's the caveat. The only caveat is that has to be repaid if you refinance or sell, right?
But you're going to have equity when you refinance. Right. We already know that because rates aren't coming down. When rates come down, property values go up. That's like basic, simple common sense, right? Everybody knows that. I don't think anyone's arguing with that.
Right.
So as rates go down and your equity goes up, good time to refinance. Now you have more equity and you can get rid of that second.
And it's so awesome that you're able to have that money borrowed with no payment, right? Yeah, you always got to pay the money back, but there's no payment.
Right.
So it makes your monthly expenses more manageable too.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Because now you don't have that additional payment. Now, when you do pay that off, the interest that you're speaking about, they all have different interests built in depending on the city or the county.
Got it.
Or the lender.
So it's accruing on the back end, but you're not making payments.
Correct.
And it's pretty low interest.
It's pretty low.
If I remember. It's been a minute since I've done a CalHFA, but this guy yesterday just reminded me, like, I need to start pushing that product again.
Yeah.
How many young people do we know out there that would want to buy, but they don't have money? They have good jobs. They have good credit. They're stable in their lives, and they're paying $2,200. That is the minimum you're spending on an apartment in Roseville right now.
Yeah. You're so right. I mean, that is the conduit or the pathway to young ownership, home ownership. Yeah. And it's out there. A lot of people, like you said, have really good credit, pay their bills on time. They just don't have 20, 30 grand in the bank.
Right.
This is a way they can get in and still maintain their savings.
Yeah.
Right. But now become homeowners.
And you don't have to hit up mom, dad, grandma, grandpa for the gift funds.
Right.
Because that's the other way to get in. If you don't have any money and you don't have a 401k and you don't have family that can gift you, not loan you, gift you. Right. Can you speak to that too?
Yes.
Why can't they go get a loan?
I like that you say that. So Gifting basically is where you get money from a relative or a friend. And basically, all we have to do is prove that it's not laundered money.
So it needs to be seasoned, right? Not mattress money. It needs to be in a bank account.
In a bank account, yeah. And they usually require a 130-day statement to prove that it's been in there for at least 30 days.
Okay.
But then they can use that money as a gift. People do it all the time. Here's a really cool thing, too. You can blend gift money with CalHFA money, too.
Uh-huh.
So if your gift isn't big enough, maybe grandma and grandpa are giving you $3,500 and that's a lot to them, but you need an additional 15.
Right.
We can still use CalHFA concurrently with the gift.
Right. Oh, I love that idea. Lots of So if you are a new borrower, right, and you think you couldn't get in, how are they going to reach you to make sure they have this conversation to see what they need, what criteria they need to get in?
Yeah, it's 916-849-8925.
And same for our young folks. Like, don't wait. If you've been thinking about this and you thought I'm going to wait for rates to come down, call now. Yeah. Because by the time you get all of your credit and everything ready, chances are we're going to be there. Because it typically takes a few weeks, sometimes months to get there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know where we are right now, guys. When we come back, we're going to talk about where we are heading and how you can properly prepare with Mr. Joseph Muscles Madrid to get on the track to buy. If you didn't buy right now and you're waiting for this next wave, we'll tell you what the next wave is that's coming.
Definitely.
Jessica Couch. When you're buying or selling your next home, work with an experienced team that knows the business, a local team that knows the market, and that has the skill set to take care of every single detail. We will get you top dollar if you're selling, and we'll help negotiate the best deal if you're buying, all without spending $1 out of your own pocket. Work with Pro Mortgage and Realty. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we cover those out-of-pocket expenses like inspections, appraisal, and help with your closing costs. It's our commitment to make your next real estate transaction easy and stress-free as possible. We're not all about business. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've developed deep roots in the community. We've partnered with local nonprofits, and we give back. Come work with the team that's got your back. Call or text today. Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty, 916-532-8916. Or visit us at promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros.
NMLS 351319, DRE 01745667.
If you or a family member are in the process of buying a home, then you'll want to hear this. Pro Mortgage and Realty has streamlined the home buying process, providing you with mortgage pre-approval and a top-performing real estate agent all under one roof. And if you call or text within the next 10 minutes to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, they will cover your closing costs. Pro Mortgage and Realty makes it easy. They will negotiate the best deals and save you thousands by using one company. From down payment assistance programs, DSCR loans, FHA and VA loans, and more. They cover all aspects of mortgage and real estate, from finding you the right finance programs to finding you the right home. Work with a company that can be with you throughout the whole home buying process. Call 916-872-7177 or visit ProMortgageRealty.com for more information. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 315319 and DRE number 017456667.
And now more with the Real Estate Profits with Purpose on AM 1380, The Answer.
Hey guys, we are back. Real Estate Profits here, and Joseph Muscles Madrid is about to prophesize about what is about to go down. So you know what market we're in right now. I think I talk about it at nauseum. We have a ton of inventory. We have flatlined, although people are still complaining about pricing, and I feel it. I get it. I agree. I concur. Prices are high. This is our flat line. So for those naysayers that are like, it's going to crash, I'm telling you it's not. And I will come back and say, I told you so. Our shows are taped. They are dated. You can come back and see that we had correct information. Yeah. But that's not going to be the case in a minute, right?
Right.
Can you speak to what we're walking into?
Yeah, so it's the perfect storm.
Oh, that is a good way to put it.
Right. It's kind of like it was in 2020. The difference in 2020, nobody was ready for it, right?
Can you speak to that? Like, I mean, I know during COVID, I was swamped.
Yeah.
Swamped.
Yeah, and I don't think clients were ready for it, too.
No.
I think that's what caused the frenzy was, everybody assumed we were in this crisis, right, in our country.
And that became a crisis in your living room because you have 6 kids doing homeschool and everyone's working from home.
Right. Yeah,
It's a crisis, all right.
It was a crisis. But in the midst of all that, the rates were lower than they've ever historically been, probably lower than they're ever going to be. I don't see them happening again. Right?
I don't think in our lifetime we're ever going to see it again. Maybe our grandbabies, but
Maybe.
yeah.
Right? So that boat's gone.
Yeah.
But what we're going into, to your point, is it's going to be crazy because right now we've had rates higher than they've been in 25 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, 25 years. A lot of people that are homeowners now weren't even alive at that time or were children at that time, right?
Yeah.
So they haven't experienced this. So the only other way to go is down.
Yeah.
And when it goes down even 1%, right? Because like right now we're hovering around 7. Inflation's been bouncing around. When we get down to like 6% even, it's going to go nuts. And when that happens, there's not going to be this buildup to it.
It's just going to happen.
It's just going to happen. And all these people that are saying, oh, I was waiting, it's instantly going to turn into a bidding war immediately. Home prices are going to go up, as you know, immediately overnight because this bidding war is going to start. And then we're going to be in that same situation. So like Jessica's telling everybody every single week, listen to the experts, right? Make sure that you follow the signs and follow the experts so that you're in a position when this time comes to capitalize on the situation. We're trying to get people already in the situation so that when it comes, they're not dealing with that.
Yeah.
Now you're just dealing with equity. And if rates are better, now you get to refinance and put yourself in a better position, but you're not battling to get a house like you were before.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what's going to happen for sure.
Absolutely. So if you already own a home and you have a great rate, I am not suggesting you sell your home. I'm the last person that will come in and be like, let's do something that's not, it would just be disingenuous. I wouldn't do it. Right. So like the listings I have coming up right now are folks that got job transfers out of state for more money. They need, they need to sell. They didn't want to rent. And folks, or unfortunately parents have passed and we're selling the family home. Yeah. It no longer suits, the kids already bought a house. Like they're good. I mean, most of my clients that I've worked with for a long time, like they already own a house. Or this family, I'm selling the family house. They own 6 properties. They have a primary and they are working on their 5th Airbnb right now. Like they're dialed. They know what they're doing. And they know what the market is and they're very well educated on what's going on. Yeah. Kind of people I love working with. But if you're a young person or older person that has not yet bought a property, this would be the time. Yeah. So can you speak to like what we're walking into? So I went through this scenario before our break on how you can get 6% back from the seller. Right. Those days are about to be over. Right. What is that going to mean for our borrowers?
Yeah, you're
exactly they need the closing costs. Like how are they going to structure this?
Yeah. So now, again, is such a prime time because sellers are willing to work with you. You've been making it happen on almost every deal you get.
Every single deal.
Right?
With the exception of one. With the exception of one in the past 15 months, every single buyer deal I closed, I got between 5% and 6% back. 90. I could only get 5 on the conventional because there's a cap on how many closing costs you can get. I don't want to bore you with details, but every single one with the exception of one. And the only reason we didn't get on that one was because it was brand new listing one day on the market. We got it at list price and then I came back and hit them with repair costs. We ended up getting a credit anyway, but they used their own money for the buy down because it was the first day on the market. And there wasn't a lot of inventory in that particular neighborhood that was suitable for their particular family situation that they needed. Yeah. They had a very specific need. Right. But can you speak to like what this is going to look like for these borrowers that right now could get in and get 6% back and they don't have any money? Right. How are they going to get that when this market turns just, like that in a snap and they're not ready? What are they looking at? How are they going to get in?
They're not going to get it. I mean, that's the real answer, right? Because nobody's
How are they going to compete to see if they can get it? Yeah. How is that going to work?
Yeah, so, I mean, CalHFA is still going to be there.
Okay,
so
but that covers down payment, not your closing costs.
Right, that covers down payment, not your closing costs. The way that it works in that environment is you end up going over asking, right?
Can you speak to that and speak to, like, what that means on, not an exact payment basis, but, like, why would somebody be likelier to not work with a person that needs that? Right. Like, speak to that because I want people to really understand the cost of waiting right now and what that means to you.
That's such a good point too that you bring up because we'll go back 4 years ago, right? 3.5 years ago, where sellers want to get to their money faster. What's the shortest distance between point A and point B, right? And it's a shorter escrow. Shorter escrows mean people are waiving appraisals, people are waiving inspections. People are waiving loan contingencies. People are bringing all cash. All of those people are waiting too. And they're just waiting for this time.
So what does it mean if you waive your appraisal?
Yeah, so if you waive your appraisal, that basically means you're buying it as is. If it comes in lower, then you're going to pay the difference of the asking price.
And if you write it that way, do you need to show that you have the money available if there's a big gap?
You usually do have to provide what's called POF, another acronym for proof of funds, right?
We are full of so many fun acronyms.
So you have this proof of funds, and sellers in that environment will be able, they're not able to now because they're just hoping someone wants to buy their house.
Right.
That's why we're able to negotiate like you are. In that situation, they're going to have people lined up to buy their house.
Yep.
So you're going to need to prove you have this money, right? And there's going to be people, as you know, they're going to say, you know what, we waive everything. We can close in 10 days.
And we'll pay $20,000 over your asking, and here's proof we can do it.
Yep.
So what does that do to the little guy that doesn't have extra money and doesn't have closing costs?
And it puts them in the next situation.
Okay, so let's say for this scenario, we have a young couple. They waited too long. Now they're crying. Like, how can we possibly get in? Help us, right? And you find a house that's been on the market 60 days, but they're not going to take less than their $500,000. How does that borrower get the closing costs covered?
So then we would go in and hire a loan amount.
Okay.
Right? I mean, a gift, number one, is always the best.
Sure,
I say.
sure. But let's say they don't have any money.
They
need the seller. How are they going to do that?
So they're going to go in above, right? So say if it's $500,000 and they need $15,000 of closing costs, and we're going to offer $515,000. And then we're going to ask for a credit of that $15,000. So the seller could still capture the net they're looking for.
Sure.
But then you can still get what you need to have accomplished. The huge difference there that I know you keep preaching about is that's a higher payment. That's extending yourself more, where right now the house is willing to give you money to play with, right?
And the buy down money, which is huge. The buy down money on most of the deals that I closed last year with buyers was a difference of $500 to $800. That's like 2 car notes if you're driving a couple of Hondas, right? Or 1 car note if you're driving a Tesla. You know, because that's what I know how expensive the Tesla is. But, you know, that's a really big deal in way of your budget and what market we're in right now and how that could really affect you and your family. Because having your car notes covered or $800, like that's the difference of going out to dinner or not going out to dinner at all. That's the difference of like rice and beans or having the luxury of eating at McCooney. And that's a lot of money for most families.
And one of the biggest things I think that's kind of an issue right now with a lot of people thinking of waiting is that they are putting themselves in a situation where they're not going to have a choice. Right? Like right now, you kind of have a choice.
You got a lot of choices. You got a lot of choices right now.
Opportunity to make good choices right now because you have more available to you, like you said. It's going to become a situation where you don't have choices. And that you're going to hope you're chosen. That you're going to hope that somebody likes your situation more than someone else's. I mean, we're going to get into an environment where sellers are going to be reading letters.
We always use the letter. It's another little trick if you're a borrower, buyer, same difference. Make sure you have a letter to seller. Few agents aren't going to use that and show the seller, but more than just money, it's that emotional connection. And I've seen a lot of my buyers get in because of that we're like, hey, dad's a contractor and we can go as is. We know that we've identified these, because I'm paying for all the inspections, we've identified A, B, C, and D, and we can have it all fixed. Don't even sweat it. Also, like, you know, our ministry is raising puppies or whatever it is, right? And this couple is like, oh, I totally identify with that. Like, this is just like we were when we were young and broke. And, you know, we don't want to fiddle around with people coming back with 18 things that are wrong with our property. So if we give them all this money and we give it to them for a lesser price, we don't have to worry about anything. And we're helping this young couple and their ministry and their mission with raising puppies or whatever it is. And they make this emotional connection. Like that is such a big factor that not everyone uses.
What you just said is probably the best point. Like you summed up real estate right there, because what real estate is it's a clash of finance and emotion. And those two things never go well together. And so it takes a lot to make sure that that's in the right situation. That's why you need the experts, right? Because it's very easy to get emotional about it because it's your home. It's where you live, it's where you sleep, where you raise your kids, that's your life. Right? So that's why it's so important. And I think that's kind of the tough part for people right now. I think that's where the paralysis comes in, is the overthinking, right? Like the emotion, right?
Right.
So to get back to your point, now's the best time. Now you're going to have the most options. You have experts like Jessica that knows how to exercise these options right now better than anybody that I've ever met.
I'm often called aggressive, which I take as a compliment. And people are like, "You're aggressive." I'm like, "Thank you." And they're like, "I didn't mean it like that." I'm like,
I didn't mean it like that.
I take it as a compliment. Like, you need an aggressive person on your team. Because just like what I had mentioned earlier, you went above and beyond working with the listing agent to find out what the seller needed to make sure that our client was able to get it.
Yeah.
It's more than just transactional and a piece of paper and money.
Yep.
Well, when we come back, we're going to chat about what you need to know next to get started. See you in a minute.
Sweet Dreams Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to glorify God by spreading peace, hope, and love to families with medically fragile babies and children. They offer dream bedrooms to children battling life-threatening illnesses, and their Ruse Baby program creates an atmosphere that will lift the spirit of the child, where they can laugh, play, and let their inner light shine. To learn more about the Sweet Dreams Foundation, visit sweet-dreams.org. When you work with Pro Mortgage and Realty, you're supporting the Sweet Dreams Foundation. Partner with Pro Mortgage and Realty today to buy or sell a home and help support the Sweet Dreams Foundation to help more children in our communities. Call or text Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty today at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916, or visit ProMortgageRealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 351319 and DRE number 01745667.
Hi, I'm Ian Boshoff, CEO of Pro Mortgage and Realty. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've streamlined the home buying process, providing you the fast mortgage pre-approval and top-performing real estate agents that will negotiate the best price for you, all under one roof. If you call or text to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, we'll help with those out-of-pocket expenses like home inspection, appraisal, and closing costs. We make it easy. From down payment assistance programs, no income qualifying loans to conventional FHA and VA loans, we have you covered. We'll help you find the right financing program and the right home. Be sure to ask about our temporary buy-down program that's negotiated towards your interest rate and can end up saving you thousands. Work with a team that's with you every step of the way. Work with the pros, Pro Mortgage and Realty. Call 916-872-7177 or visit ProMortgageRealty.com.
NMLS number 351319, DRE number 01745667. And now more with the Real Estate Profits with Purpose on AM 1380, The Answer.
Hey guys, we are back. If you are a buyer, you now know what you need to know. If you missed something, you can get a hold of Joseph. How?
916-849-8925.
Perfect. If you are a seller or an owner, you now know what you need to do. It's an ADU. We talked a lot about that. If you need more tips on that, again, call Joseph. He would start the process with your HELOC, which most people need. But what we haven't talked about yet, and I don't think we put quite enough emphasis on, but we're coming to a time where we need to talk about it again, is joining our team.
Yes.
So Joseph and I go way back, just like Ian and I go way back. We've been around. We've been at some other places, and we have some experience, and that's why we're here now in our co-op. Like we are, like the Winco's, like employee owned. It's kind of the vibe we have going here, the culture. So I think it's really important that if you are an agent and you're not having the sales that you would like to have, this is part of being part of a big team.
Right.
I don't want to say big team. We're relatively small to mid, I'd say. That's what my kids say. Mid. It's mid. I think, we're still relatively small. We're a boutique, which I really appreciate. You can call Ian and actually get him on the phone as the founder. He takes calls and texts and works till 9 o'clock. This guy never stops. Yeah. He gets back to me from his kids' basketball games. Like, what's going on? Like, he's on it. But I think there's real power in having a team and having strategy and mentorship. Sure. And there's a couple places, I'm not going to mention the name, that offer mentorship. And they really, I don't want to say anything inappropriate, but they take advantage of newer agents or agents with less experience. And there's a lot of people in the business that have been in it 10 years, but they're doing a deal a year. Right. So I'd still call them newer because they don't really have the experience. And these places will just take advantage with all of their trainings. You're paying a huge portion of the company, and then you're paying then you're paying office space. You're paying E&O on top of it. You're also paying a mentor fee on top of that. And you're left with like 10% of your deal. And that is just like, wah, wah, wah. Yeah. Like, I didn't know enough to know as a brand new agent a long, long time ago. I got one check from a big box place and was like, bye. This is crazy. So I want to speak to that. Like, if a new agent joins us and you are partnered up with them as the lender, not that you have to be partnered with one specific lender, but I would behoove you to do that. Right. We are in a loyalty business. Yeah. So when you're partnered with the lender, what does that look like, Joseph? What do you do for these newer agents?
I try to help them learn the business. I mean, I kind of want to take a step back to your point you started off with. I think that's the toughest thing for people when they get into real estate is understanding where to start.
Yes.
And the tough thing is in real estate is a different beast than anything else. It's unique to itself. But a lot of people take the approach that they take with other professions and other jobs, and it's just not how it works.
So true.
You got to decide what you want before you choose where you want to go. Most people like to choose the big box stores, the red, white, and blues, or red and whites, or the gold and blacks and purples and companies like that. But real estate isn't a normal business. Real estate is an experience business. It's something that you only get good at when you do it enough. It's not something that you can go to a place, plug in, and all of a sudden you're this guy or gal.
So true.
Right? It's not one of those things. So you want to position yourself with people that have already had these experiences, right? When you go to these big companies, it's kind of like a cattle call with anything else. You're going to glean certain things, but you're going to come out of it feeling like you didn't learn what you thought you were going to learn. And the reason that happens is because, like I just said, real estate is an experience business. It's not something that you can go read a book. You can't go take the test and know how to do real estate. This
is very similar to like, I'm very rarely on social media, but when I'm in line at the grocery store and I have 5 minutes, I'm like, I love funny videos on Instagram and all the reels. It's hilarious. Yeah. And what I've noticed is there's a million, like, join my YouTube course, join my mailer course, join my this, I make $1 million, join my course. Real estate's the same way. Right. And you get a course, right, that you're paying whatever, $159 for. They send you the course and you're just going to figure out how to be a millionaire. Right. Go try it.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
go see how it feels. It is not real life.
It's not.
You need an actual mentor, like, side by side with you, coaching you through how to do this the right way. And there's a right way and there's a wrong way.
Yeah, it's like what we do. We Jessica always talks about how we are fitness minded around it, right? If you look at anybody that's in good shape, okay, you're automatically going to think that's who I need to go talk to if I want to get in shape. Right?
And I would agree.
That's what you're going to want to do. Well, real estate is very similar.
I would say it's similar all the way down to the fact that you sending me your workouts are not going to help me look like you.
Right.
And I'd love nothing more than arms like that, Joseph. Nothing more. But I need to come alongside to the gym with you. I need to know what that movement looks like. You don't know if my form's good, right? I don't even know what that exercise is. Right. I don't know how to do it. I've never used that machine. I'm not just going to learn it because you sent me a PDF of your workout routine.
Exactly.
I need to come alongside with you and see how you're doing it, check your form, and you have to check my form because that's probably way off. It is, by the way, all the time. My form is always off. I need to come alongside. Right. So I think this coming alongside with someone with the experience is really the ticket.
It really is because, not to get all esoteric, but, as humans, we're just mimicking creatures. Like, that's all we do is mimic what we've learned, right? And real estate and lending, that's what it is. It's experiences and learning from the people that already been through those gates before you. That's where you're going to really thrive in this business. And so that's going to take a little bit of research. It's not just passing the test. If you want to be with people that know what they're doing, and I'm going to kind of clear the deck right now, there's a reason why people like Jessica, like Ian, like the Shepherds, like myself, there's a reason why we are all together in this, working for this company. We've been in this long enough to go anywhere. We've seen it all. We've seen all the colors. We've seen all the programs. We've seen all the training. There's a reason why we're here.
And then we're collaborating.
Exactly.
Like, it's so cool to be with a group of professionals. You're like, Joseph and I are like I don't know what the word is. We're better than the average at door knocking. We grew up Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, you're not going to beat us at the door.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone's getting down at the door, it's us.
Yeah.
We know how to do that.
Yep.
But the shepherds have a totally different, like, they are amazing at open houses.
Right.
And they were like, come see what we do and copycat us. And we were like, come with us door to door and copycat what we're doing. The collaboration of professionals that are all believers and like, get in here. Yeah. We are just like, it is one big super fun club where you get to hang out with cool people that are doing big business, that love what they're doing and love to share that.
Yep.
We are of this abundant mindset.
Yeah.
And if there's no secrets with abundance, there's no secrets. It's everybody in. We share everything we know, everything that we have to offer, and everybody wins and everybody comes up. And that's the kind of team you want to be part of.
Yep.
Not some catty, like, you don't want to be part of that.
No. Yeah, because we're not threatened by new. That's the difference,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Is we welcome new because we've been new.
Mm-hmm.
We've been you, not to rhyme, but we've been a new you, just like you guys before. We've had to start somewhere. So we would love to help you eliminate that curve that we've all had to go through and help you get up and going and be more successful as fast as possible. Now, for tenured people like ourselves, we're also here because we're tenured people. All of us didn't just show up a couple of years ago and learn through pro. All of us have kind of had our own paths.
Yeah.
And now we're all together.
A lot of falling on my face.
Yeah. So that's a testament too for anybody at any level in this business. Is we have every level in this business. I mean, we got some of the shepherd group that's been here for a year or two, like Cole and some of those other guys. Then you guys got people like yourself and Ian and myself and the shepherds that have been doing this for over 20 years. So you have a gamut of experience that you can pull from.
Right.
But none of us make money based on what we teach you to do, right? The company grows. It's like that old saying goes, a rising tide raises all ships, right? That's who we are. Right.
I do want to speak to that. And I say this often. There's a company out there, and I'm not going to name it, but they give you stock. And if you're following anything, go do some research on that. Because if you're in any business, including real estate or finance, and you're making any money, put your money into things that make sense. And I don't know that's that. The company that you're working for is a company to put your money into stock. Okay. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to leave it at that. Second, most of these companies, they're recruiting big time because Joseph, you bring me in and then you get paid on what I'm doing. Sure. It doesn't work like that at Pro. If I bring you in, the mentorship is free. The broker takes whatever the broker's taking and the broker pays me $10. I mean, literally it's like nothing. $10 out of the money that the broker takes. It's not in addition to. Yeah. So really look for that. If you're a newer agent, that look at the mentor fee and what they're charging you, because we don't have that. Our mentorship, our experience, our help, our door-to-door, our open house setup, it's free. Yeah. We just want people to win. And if you're going to win and you're hardworking, I want you on our team.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's a huge difference, right? Because a lot of people in our industry, it's kind of a dog-eat-dog world, for lack of a better term. I hate to say that, but it is.
It is.
Because it's commission-based. Nobody's paying your paycheck but yourself.
And a lot of these big companies are cloud-based, which, again, no problem. We have a real office, a real printer, real people around. But if you're a part of a big cloud-based business, the biggest complaint I hear is that these agents feel like they're out on an island. They don't have the community. They don't have a weekly meeting with their team. They feel like they're out on an island, and they don't have the camaraderie and the collaboration that we as humans and those in business need. Yeah. And I think that cannot be overstated. Yeah. It's really important.
You're exactly right. And it kind of comes down to knowing yourself too, right? And then you understand where you'll fit in or what'll work best for yourself. But you want to be with people that are human. You want to be with people that think of humanity first before business.
Well, and I can really speak to that because we were part of the same company. Yeah. That's how I connected with you. Yeah. We were at a conference. Yeah. And rather than being at a conference, we're here every week together. Right. We talk all the time. We go door to door. We do stuff. Like, we are real life friends in this business. Yeah. And that cannot be understated.
No, and you're right. I mean, that makes everything a lot better.
It's so much easier, yeah.
It's enjoyable. I mean, I know we all look forward to our meetings, and that's a big part of it. We're like a big family.
So leave your number. If someone's a loan officer and they're thinking about making a switch, how do they reach you?
Yeah, or just want to have a conversation on knowing where you need to go and what choice to make. It's 916-849-8925.
Okay, guys, remember, if you have questions coming up, text or call Joseph direct. We'll put them into the show notes and get all your questions answered. We'll see you next week. Stay safe and enjoy the sun.